my friends, I am the Dungeon Tutor. Welcome! Today we're answering a question for RPG a Day. We're answering the fourth question, being the fourth day of August. And today's question is pretty straightforward. What is the most recent game that you've bought? Now, you can ask all kinds of questions about where, when, why, and so forth, and you might get an idea of how many games a person buys by asking these questions. My answer is a very modest, I'm not going to tell you how many games I bought, because honestly, I fight that memory so that I don't feel bad about the number of games that I buy. I'm not a rich man, but thanks to thrift stores and secondhand shops like Half Price Books, I've got a nice little library tucked in there, so yeah, I have a number of games. And this question is actually complicated because Kickstarter is a thing. And I've backed several Kickstarters on projects that I loved, that caught my eye and caught my heart. So the last one that I received was actually kickstarted months ago. But I got this recently, it's been on my mind, so that's what I'm going to go with today. The last actual one I bought, it was a source book for the Fantasy Flight Star Wars game. That's right, I did get that. It was a Gadgets and Gadget... No, it wasn't. It was the class book for Commanders from Age of Rebellion, which itself is a nice little book. Covers some useful battlefield gear, like the defensive towers that were used in Hoth to try to repel the Imperials in The Empire Strikes Back. It also has some new races, which are pretty nice. Having extra options for characters is definitely cool. So, that's nice. It was an okay book. I'm not going to lie. The major reason I got it was the cheapest of those kind of books at the place that I bought it from, which is Adventure Games in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Nice little store. Nice store. Big game selection. Pretty good sized role-playing game. Lots of other kind of books and games. It's really good. Huge miniature section. But this one I'm going to put up because I just got this more recently, and it is a beautiful game. This is Dragonbane from Free League Press. Now, Free League has been buying a lot of IPs and making great games out of them, like Alien and Twilight 2000 and Tales from the Loop, and there's a bunch. So, what is it about this game? Why did I buy this game? It's a box set, first of all. It has a core set of rules, and it has an adventure, a campaign adventure inside. It's got some pre-generated characters, which is always a nice thing. It's got token creatures and stuff. Just about everything in the game has a token character, which is cool. You don't need miniatures with that when you can do that, which is good. This was actually really inexpensive going through the backer kit for this. This was $35. Most box sets are $50 or so. It's not the most expensively put together. It's got a nice little set of translucent green dice. But all in all, what really gripped me about this game and really got me into it is I consider myself to be a gaming historian. I love the history of role-playing games. I love their evolution. I love seeing where games have come from and where they're going. That is something I know not many people who are into role-playing games care all that terribly much about. I got it. No problem. If you just do nothing but play 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons and you don't look back and you don't look around, you can have a fine gaming career doing just Dungeons & Dragons and you'd be fine. Or whatever other game tickles your fancy, quite honestly. I think you're missing a lot, personally. There's so much out there and so many different flavors of games to try that closing yourself off to just 1 or 2 games just seems like a tragedy to me. Even if you don't go in for the big games that are, really beefy, like GURPS or Dungeons & Dragons, certainly, Shadowrun, that have so much material and so much that you can get. There are plenty of nice, light little games like, a Mork Borg or, I don't know, looking at any number of games that are out there, even a Blades in the Dark or Dungeon World. Sometimes the little games can really surprise you with how much fun they can be in different ways than the games that you have already. With Dragonbane, the thing that they promise with it, it is their reimagining is probably not a good word, because I believe they were supposed to be fairly faithful to the source material, but it is basically comes from the very first, from the information I looked up, very first role-playing game in Europe. Came out shortly on the heels of Dungeons and Dragons. I imagine because it's too expensive to get stuff from the United States, so they made their own domestic product. It was called Drakar et Demoner, I believe, which translates to Dragonbane. Demon of Dragons, Bane. I think that makes sense. I could be off base on that, though. Just to be fair, I'm not omniscient, but it seems to make sense that this is based off an older game, and some of the core elements of it, like statistics that are rolled using 46 drop the low. Very similar to Dungeons and Dragons. This looks like a game that somebody knew about Dungeons and Dragons and just took the core mechanics for making characters and things like that. Yeah, it and obviously been polished to a glossy sheen so that it should be quick, easy, and fun to play. That's one of the things that made this very compelling for me, was the price point. Again, $35 for the box set's nice. Number two, again, it's placed in antiquity. I know it is not the same, but realistically, if I wanted to get one of those classic Draconic Demoner, I would need to learn Swedish. They were done in Swedish. They probably translated them out, because I guess that game got pretty big throughout Europe until it got choked off by Dungeons and Dragons and the Dark Eye and other domestic game, Warhammer, other domestic games that got big, and it didn't maintain its position in the gaming sphere. But I'm really glad that Free League got the ability to put it out. They're also a Swedish-based company, so it makes sense that they would take a shot at the domestic product and bring it back in front of everybody's eyes. This really got exciting because the art is really nice on it. I do like the art. And probably one of the coolest things about this game, and I admit this is a cosmetic thing, but they've got these duck folk named mallards. Now, kind of a pity that they don't have a more creative name, because a mallard is a breed of duck. So that is unfortunate. But it kind of, in another sense, also works, because if you're putting them into a pseudo-medieval society, Mallard sounds a lot like Milord. My Lord, being a title of address for somebody who is noble-born. And Mallards have a healthy amount of respect for them in the game, because they have a reputation for really short tempers and occasional bouts of violence if they get pushed too far. And I think that's pretty funny. Ducks can be kind of excitable anyhow, so that makes a certain amount of sense by the breed. But I do generally like having access to a variety of different games, and if I take my fantasy in a different direction than stock Dungeons and Dragons, God bless, I could use some other games to have choices from, and that's certainly one that I'm happy to have. Looks like it'll be a fantastic little experience. I like the pre-gens. I think the game will really be good when I start to run it. So I just need to wait my turn, because I'm in the middle of 2 campaigns, and shortly after that, I'm going to try to run a game of Dragonbane. So that will be exciting. There's a lot of really good games out there. And again, I can't help but encourage people. If all you ever do is play one game, stick your neck out. Try something else. Even if it's just getting a set of quick start rules from a free RPG day. Do that. Play something else. Maybe you'll hate it. Certainly possible. There's plenty of games that just aren't very good, or they're more complicated than they need to be. Yes, but I believe that every gamer should give at least a couple of games a try. You never know, another game might hit you in just that perfect spot that the one you've been playing just doesn't. I always encourage a plurality of games in people's experiences, even if it means trading off periodically and not running that campaign that lasts 25 years. Sorry, there's just too many great games out there. for me to ever do anything like that. And I know it works for some people, but try other stuff. There's other really good companies out there. So, even if you don't go too far from the nest and you go and try a Pathfinder game and support Paizo a little bit, as opposed to, you know, buying nothing but Dungeons and Dragons, yeah, you might have a really good experience with that. So, that's my answer for the question. So, I hope you enjoyed this. Talking about different games can be a lot of fun, and hopefully it also teaches people about new games that are out there and people's experiences about other stuff, so you are welcome to that. If you enjoyed this, I hope that you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and of course if you know anybody else who's interested in other games, especially one where you can play as a duck person. Dragonbane could be awesome, but sharing this video and letting them know that this guy covers a variety of games, not just D&D, that'd be great. But as much as that, I just hope you got something out of this. Certainly what I do this for is part of RPG a Day. Until the next time, my friends, I do hope you come to see another video, and if you do, I hope between that time, then and now, you, yes, you get a chance to roll some dice, play some games, have some fun, and stay safe out there, my friends. Until next time, farewell.